All right, we are recording. So welcome to the call, everybody. Today we have an amazing guest with us, Joanna from our Lakewood Ranch office. And I know Jamie and Joanna have been, talking quite a bit about, what they're going to discuss in the call today. So I'm really just going to hand it over to them, sit back and enjoy. So Jamie, if you want to take it away.
Thanks, Kieran. And good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to, if you don't know.
Oh, we lost you there. Hold on.
Oh, I love your hat, Kieran.
Thanks.
Awesome. You look like a DJ.
All right. Sorry, you were muted for a second. Go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay. Anyway, I wanted to say good morning to everyone. And I'm super excited. If you don't know Joanna, you're going to really enjoy her story and her success. She's actually just been in real estate since 2016 and was honored at our regional awards just recently as one of the top 5 single agents doing over 25 million in sales. So I'm excited. I'm honored, Joanna, that you're on the call. And so welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
You look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
As always. Anyway, I want to start off, because I know some people may not know your story, and I just wanted you to share a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to go into real estate.
Sure. So when I was in New York, sold my house in New York. I wasn't a real estate agent before I came here. And basically, I had an agent that really didn't do a lot of the work. More important for her to be out on her boat or playing tennis. So I was showing the house a lot more. And a lot of agents were saying, you could do this, you're great. So it was always something in the back of my head to do. When I moved here in 2015, I had a 20-year interior design company in New York. So I was really good at staging and decorating. And I took a hand at it here. I did some homes in the Lake Club and still always wanted to get into real estate. So started that, joined KW in 2016 and went from there. And in the beginning, it was definitely a struggle. I had to figure things out, but I did get $1 million listing on Anna Maria Island early on. And that's how I catapulted my business. I did open houses every single weekend. And a lot of the people I met were coming in were investors looking for beach properties to invest in. And I would turn most of my sales around, and I wound up selling 15 condos at Lakewood National just when it was dirt. And that's really what catapulted me. Once I started going and getting busy, I started a real big business from that. And I still have those investors today. And that's who I'm seeing interested in this market a lot, are my investors.
Yeah, and I know we're going to talk about that. But just a fun fact, I know we were talking about that you worked with Donna Kerrigan.
I launched Donna Karen's beauty company in New York, Bloomingdale's, and 3 years running, we were the #1 fragrance. I had 50 people below me. I ran her, men's fragrance, women's fragrance, beauty company. So that was fun. I was her second-hand girl. She would come in all the time, and it was a great experience because once again, it was all about systems and keeping everything running within the organization.
Yeah, and that's such a fun fact. My first question is, what are you doing in today's market with everything that's going on?
As Gary at the, at our last family reunion, he really pushed relationships with our clients, and it's so important. That's what I'm doing, delving more into the database, of course. So touching everybody, not pushing so much saying, do you need to buy or sell? I am coming from saying, what can I do for you? I'm here if you need anything, and just rebuilding a lot of the relationships with my database and my key people, that all my clients that have bought or sell from me, and touching base with all of them, because that's what really what is going to drive your business. Referral as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you had mentioned yesterday or this morning that you had just had a house go under contract just recently.
Yes, I did last night. I have a colleague in my office, Vito Goffredo, who we work together at times, and he went out and showed the property to her. And then I negotiated the contract and we got into contract last night. So in this past week, I had 3 showings. I'm of course using precautions. I'm wearing gloves and a mask. I'm wiping things down with Lysol. You know, if you're really smart and you're just taking care, you can't be so driven by fear. My advice is do not turn on the TV. Because when you're seeing all those numbers and it's getting people crazy, and we don't want our business to plummet. We still need to constantly keep working and be top of mind to people.
I love that. And you're also sewing masks.
Oh, yeah. So I felt helpless. Like when a week ago I said I have to do something because I have a doctor client who lives in my neighborhood, and I have nurses that I have sold homes to. So I wanted to figure out how to help them. And it's basically, I sew. So I went and got inspirational fabric, and it's lined with felt, and I put AC liner inside. So it's really like an N95 protective for them.
Nice. Love that.
I dropped it off at their doors, and I mean, they were posting on their Facebook page practically crying, like, so happy, look what someone did, you know, it's just something. And I'm not doing it for any other reason, but I think they're in our front lines, and that I'm concerned about them.
So good. Good. Okay, my next question is, how are you coming from contribution? I know we just talked about the mask, but I know you've been doing other things as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on 36 touch. That's really one of the questions, but I was really delving into my 36 touch and just coming, you know, you can give recipes to people. Right now, everybody's home. So, I mean, I've never been cooking so much. So it's a cute idea to like send out a recipe to your database. And then even sending out, letting people know what the home is worth in this market. Because a lot of my investors with the, you know, the interest rate up, down, they're really keeping an eye on everything. So you need to know the numbers and the facts. How we do at KW. We know how many go under market, you know, under listing, how many are sold. I keep that data and I email that to my top clients. So they're keeping an eye on the market too, to see how things are going.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything else that you're doing that you want to share?
Just the emailing, and a lot of lead conversion is so important. It's great to have all these leads, but we need to convert them into appointments, and appointments are going to be done virtually, and that's going to be key. So you want to try to do Zoom calls, FaceTime. We want to do listing appointments, buyers appointments, all virtually right now. This pandemic has catapulted us into the future. This is the way I think real estate was going anyway. People need to be doing videos. It's crucial. I had 12 listings, and I went in, some were vacant, and I did virtual tours. I use Eric from, you can go on his site, vtourstudios.com. He does an awesome walkthrough tour, because you're gonna need to do a lot virtual right now in this market.
And you know, we can talk about how you're doing that. You know, it's interesting. I bought my home virtually, and that was like 17 years ago. Yeah, I didn't even close on my house until the day I saw it like live.
Wow.
And so I went online, I was looking just for an investment. And so I'm excited to see it go this way, because I literally took a virtual tour of it and then, you know, purchased it. Is there anything that, you know, you want to elaborate on as far as how you're specifically doing the virtual tours, or anything more?
I'm a stager. So because of my decorating background, a vacant property, I do go and I put things in the towels and little things in the bathroom, and I stage the kitchen. I think staging's important, because then people are like, wait, is someone living there or not? It needs to have a little warmth of a feeling. Photographs are key. Eric, I've always used him because it's not dark. His photos come across bright and light. And I've put about 5 properties under contract without them going into the home, based just on my photographs.
Wow.
So it's key to have, I mean, we all see when we look through listings, we know when the photos are horrible. Right away, it doesn't make sense, because that's what everyone shops online for a house now. They're not even going to go look at it unless your photos are great.
Yeah, that's awesome. How are you handling buyers?
Well, first of all, I'm making sure they're motivated and ready to go. I really don't want to, during a pandemic, waste my time with someone that wants to move 6 months from now. So I'm qualifying them, and when they're really serious, ready to go. And if they're going out at this point, they're serious. They're ready to buy. And as I said, just with precaution, I do make sure, even before I go in the house, I tell them not to touch anything. And the lights are usually on from the listing agent. We just walk through and look at everything, and just, talking people off the ledge, because it's just, right, everyone needs to buy and sell a home. We're still in that same market, but it's just driven by fear right now. So it's just really script practicing and talking them into off the ledge. And the interest rate is still at a very good product. We need to get people to buy more and push the button. So
Yeah. And what about sellers? How are you handling them?
I had some people, I have to say, some sellers that wanted to pull off the market. They really did. So what I did is I put a couple into withdrawn status, because I'm going to come back on in 60 days, which resets the clock back to 0. They wanted to be off for a couple of months. So when I come back on in 60 days, it's going to come out as a fresh new listing. But other than that, I try to talk my sellers into staying on the market, because there's less competition. In Greyhawk Landing, we went from 39 on the market to 22 in 1 week. So that means there was canceled, withdrawns, temporarily off the markets. So if people are still out there looking and buying, you have to remember we have droves of people coming here from New York and New Jersey. They are still coming in, they're flying in, and they're going to be buying. So I would still leave them on the market.
Yeah, I know we talked about we still live in paradise. So
yes, yeah, they're all coming here.
Yeah, so true. How is the process running once under contract and closings?
So far so good. I was concerned with the shutdown order. I did reach out to the inspection companies I use, and they are still allowed. We are essential real estate, so they're still allowed to go and do inspections. People usually don't want anyone there, so it's just usually the inspector, and they're handling it very precautious with gloves and masks. And then the appraiser as well, they're still doing the appraisals on homes. Most appraisers and most inspection companies can get in or loan with the iBox. And I have 3 closings next week, and they've already pre-signed. So the title companies are going out to the car with the clipboard and their face mask and gloves, and they're having my clients sign, and we're doing all the pre-signing. So everything just will be funded next week. It's great.
And I love that you're sharing this, because I know agents are being so inspired, because the point is to keep moving, and
you have to. You can't disappear. This is the most important book. If you haven't read it, you have to read this. This is going to get you through everything right now, is the shift. This is when we need to double down. We're going to work even harder. Like, we thought it was tough before. No, we really have to bring our game during this.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you doing to save money in your business right now?
Well, I used to do a lot of farming with postcards, and I'm not doing as many postcards. I mean, I still do mailings for my clients, like birthdays, and just so them, again, it's top of mind when someone gets a card in the mail. And I am doing a little more with the sending out mailings. Again, video, you could do Facebook. You need to do lead capture right now. So I would invest money, that's where I'm doing it, in Facebook marketing. And when I have my listings, I'm getting that lead capture, and I am calling people, because if they're looking at it and looking at the photos, they're in the market, whether it's now or in the future.
Yeah, awesome. And then how are you handling the shutdown at home? What's that look like?
Oh, so much fun. Trying to be healthy because of all this food in the house. So I know Detweiler's implemented the other day I was there, you could do the drive-through window and you could still get tons of fish, meat, vegetables. I mean, don't have a ton of crap in the house. Get up in the morning, shower, and get dressed and get out, walk. I mean, if you're in the house locked down in pajamas for a month, it's going to be very depressing. And you're not going to really do business. You need to get behind your computer and keep your routines going as you were before. You can't just, you know, wither away. And as I said, do not watch the news. I wouldn't. Now and then you could turn it on just to look at updates, but you know, I mean, I know people that like are constantly calling me updated. I don't want to know and hear about it. I kind of need to focus on where my mindset's going to be. Mindset's really important to keep us strong throughout this.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. Turn it on just a little bit and just to catch up and that's it. I know there are a lot of people that are going to want some questions and I'm sure Kieran does too. So Kieran, do you want to ask Joanna anything?
Yeah, actually, I just want to come back to something you talked about a couple moments ago, which was the shift book. And one of the first tactics we told our agents to read was tactic 12, which is bulletproof your transaction.
Yes.
I've been talking to a lot of the leadership in the area. Like I had a conversation with your OP yesterday, Brian Wentz, talked to him about, you know, how March looked for you guys. And he said everything was, you know, pretty much on track. You didn't really have any fallout. You know, neither did we, neither did our other office. So that seems to be the trend. You know, March was kind of business as usual as far as closings, that kind of thing. What we're starting to see though is some of the business that's booked out for April or May. In addition to maybe slowing down a little bit on writing new business, we really need to make sure that we are bulletproofing those transactions in our pipeline right now. So, you know, I know you're a single agent. I'm sure you have some admin support or transaction coordinators or something. What are you doing to really bulletproof the transactions you have in your pipeline right now and bring those sellers, those buyers to close and keep them calm and make sure it's on track?
Well, luckily my pipeline, the ones that are closing, next week they've pre-signed, those are going to move forward. And then I have about 2 million in the pipeline, and that's new construction that I've sold before the pandemic. And I've already gotten emails that those are on track to go. And, you know, I have a relationship with Lennar Homes, and I do work with a lot of the sales agents in new construction. So I'm also going into their model homes as well. They're more than happy to let me do that. And I'm doing videos in the model homes. And I am posting that too to help with the marketing. But as far as safeguarding what we have going so far, the only one, I did have the one fall out last week, but then that's the one that we just showed her property and I signed the contract last night. So it was a quick turnaround right away.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. And I think that's going to be a big part of our focus in the coming 30 to 60 days is really taking care of those deals we have in the pipeline. And then of course, like you were talking about, finding innovative ways to get new business, whether that's through virtual listing appointments or showings or whatever that might look like. Yes. So that was my one question. I think Jamie covered a lot of the other topics that I had on my mind. So we can open it up to the group if you want, Jamie. I'm sure lots of people have questions for Joanna.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Just unmute yourself if you do have a question and chime in, guys. Nobody, really? Were all of Jamie's questions so good that she asked everything you guys need to know? I know a lot of you guys were excited. Charles, Joe, you guys have anything you want to ask?
Hey, Joanne. Hey, quick question. Are your sellers or new sellers, are they thinking about waiting for 45, 60 days? I have 4 new listings coming up and they want to wait through July. I've told them, you know, now inventory is low, but again, I'm not going to lie to them that showings are slower. So do you have that conversation with them?
Yeah, I have. And as I said, sometimes I did put some in withdrawn, some of my newer listings that I just took, but I am showing them the statistics of what's been on the market, how it's very low inventory right now, and just putting their mind at ease at how the showings are going to go. It's definitely tricky when they're living in the house, they don't want multiple people coming through in their house. They don't want them, even though we're instructing not to touch things, the closet doors might be left open and then they freak out. So it's definitely a very tricky situation. And I wouldn't wait till July. I would try to get them on the market more in June than July. That's really waiting too long.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is everyone's going to be putting their listings on the market then. There's going to be a flux of new listings then, and that it's going to be a lot more harder for them to sell.
I agree.
So I did think of actually one other question, just because I'm thinking about shift since you brought up the book. And so you've obviously read it and you're familiar with it. I think for agents that do have listings, or maybe they're going on listing appointments, whether they're virtual, whether they're in person, part of the shift book talks about how important it is to have listings priced correctly in a shift, right? Because otherwise you end up chasing that pricing model to the bottom of the market, and we need to be ahead of that. So have you had any of those conversations, either with current listings that you're not taking off the market, right? They're staying in, they want to get sold. So current clients that you have, or as you're having new listing appointments, what does that conversation look like now versus maybe a month ago?
I definitely have seen a lot of price adjustments come through on the MLS. I think we're definitely going to have a shift in pricing. It's not going to be a drastic. I'm seeing a slower decline right now on pricing. So I want to be realistic. And even if we look at the comps, that's giving us the past 6 months. It's not a true factor what the pricing is to be. So it depends how motivated your client is. Some of them want to stay exactly where they are. And I usually have a conversation before I sign a listing. I put in my additional comments that we gauge the market and they have to agree to price adjustments within 15 or 20 days. And I've never had someone say no to that.
Okay, great.
Because it's a waste of time if we're going to keep it, if they're not going to reduce the price.
Yeah, absolutely. Catherine Ceres, you said you had a question. If you want to just unmute and ask, that's fine.
I did, and I do, and I have. Good morning, Joanne. Thank you for being on the call and sharing with us. In addition to the coronavirus repercussions, in my personal life with my family, I've just been completely derailed for the past week, 10 days. And I'm desperately wanting to get back on track. And I'm wondering, when your schedule gets derailed, how do you bring yourself back on track?
Again, I jump in. I am really a social person. So I jump into my database and I have about 50 to 60 really true blue clients that I've developed friendships with and relationships. And I get on the phone and I call them because we're all going through this. And actually one that I called yesterday, she's one of my investors she bought like 4 properties from me. And she put one on the market, she told me. She used a friend because they didn't charge her commission. But even, I know that happens, but she's remarking how they haven't had one showing. So it kind of developed into where she's going to get rid of her and she wants to bring me on board, because I kind of went into a discussion about what I am doing to get property sold, how I'm getting it out there. And when you start talking to your clients in your database, it's like talking to friends. You're building up your relationship, calming your nerves. As I said, derailing is, I agree with you, but the news is instilling fear in a lot of us. And you just have to not focus on that. A lot of this is all mindset.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, I know a lot of the fear people are having or uneasiness they're having is obviously around the financial aspect of their business, right? When's my next commission going to be? Or, I've got obligations in my business. I might have contracts for these services or whatever. So we are having another call today at 11 o'clock. And it's the one I asked you about, Joanna, talking to a CPA about some of the different programs that are out there from the state, from the federal government, things like that, because there's a lot of resources available to realtors, more so than there have been in the past during these types of times. So definitely get on that call if you want to participate. We've had a lot of interest in that call, so I've upped my Zoom account to 500 people. So we should be able to get everybody on there that wants to be on there. Okay.
Great.
Anybody else have a question? We've got about 3-4 minutes left.
This is Marcia, and of course I always have a question, and I was going to email and don't, but since we're talking about investors, I would like to know what is the best way to really find an investor. You know, put on Facebook looking for investors, email. How do you find the investors that are close to Siesta Key or to Sarasota?
Well, there is a Facebook page in Florida for investors. I'm part of that page. And sometimes when I do see people asking certain questions or, you know, navigating the area in Florida, I do personally PM them and reach out to them. Most of my investors I have met through doing open houses, to tell you the truth. And they're very interested in the market right now. And I, you know, some of them I have been talking to and reaching out to, because unlike the 2008 crash, this is going to be very different. It's not, we're not getting pricing that's going to plummet halfway. The pricings are going to be adjusted. I know that a lot of the builders, especially a Lennar, they put everything on hold right now. Lorraine Lakes was supposed to start April 1st, and it stopped, it's on hold. So that's very interesting, because it's going to be, that's what we were competing with in the resale market, new construction. And if that's all on hold and they're only selling when people come in and make appointments to be built, we're going to have a very different resale market than we have been. There's going to be less inventory with new construction. We'll be able to sell our resales. And you have to know where to go when you do get your investor. They care about ROI. So I've sold a lot of Lakewood National, Harmony townhomes, Del Tierra homes that are affordable. They, you know, that rent out. Everything that's been I sold has been rented out.
That's really interesting. So we've been doing these calls for a few weeks now, and that's the first time we've really had that particular conversation. That's also some great information to kind of have in your listing presentation. Hey, look, a lot of these new bills that you would have been competing with a month ago, you know, they're going on hold right now. So that's another benefit to getting this property listing, because that's not going to last forever. Once things bounce back, once more liquidity with these builders, they're going to start, you know, digging in the ground again and pouring slabs. So that's an awesome point. So guys, that's why I tell you, get on here every day. We've been doing this for 3 weeks, and that's an amazing point that not a single person's made on every call we've had so far. So thank you for that.
And yesterday, Karen, yesterday, Joey and I went down to Crestwind, a new subdivision in Lakewood Ranch, and they were open, the models were open, and we talked to the salesperson, and we looked at 7 models. We took a couple quick videos, photographs, again, getting to know the inventory, getting to know what's out there, and that's something you could do. You could take photos of or videos of the model homes and post it on Facebook, because I'll tell you, Joe and I believe that once this is over, people in Chicago, New York, New Jersey, that they had it with taxes and now the virus, they're going to say, we want to get the hell out of here. We're coming to Florida. So I think that's going to happen.
True. Yeah, I believe you.
And Karen, if I can.
Yeah,
Charles, just to touch on new construction right now, especially at Crestwind, you have to walk in with your client. You have 48 hours to get on that deal. So I really stress when I'm working with someone, the benefit it is to have me. Because it's happened to me a few times where they go and buy new construction thinking they're going to get a better deal, not using an agent. And you have to educate them how you're coming with the contribution from you and how important it is that they work for the builder and you're going to represent them and protect them.
Yeah, especially now, because those builders are probably going to be a lot more.
They're all, if you're not on that deal, you can't come in a week later saying, that's my client. They're not going to put you on the deals anymore. They're really cracking down on that.
Yep. So guys, we have time for one more question. Otherwise, I'll tell Jamie to go ahead and close us out. And thank you to our very special guest today, Joanna. But if anyone has a question, speak up now, or otherwise it's back to you, Jamie.
Hi, it's Lorraine. I have a one.
Go.
I secured 2 new listings yesterday, and we're just playing again with the timing. So I'd love to go through that question a little bit better. I was considering putting a waiver for 35 or 40 days to put it on the market so that we get him to sign that at the same time, so that we can kind of just take a look for the next couple weeks, a week or two, and then put it on as soon as we see a little break in the news. How would you feel about that? What strategy would you use?
Well, regardless, I always get them to sign the listing the day I meet them that night. I never wait. So immediately.
Those went out.
You have to
So-
get them to sign the listing. And then if it depends on your client, your seller, so, you know, as much as you try to convince them, some will not, they will want to wait that month. Because they think if they're going on the market now, they're thinking it looks like you're desperate and you want to sell, but you have to educate them. That's not the case, but some of them will think that. So you get them to sign now. And I would just, you know, the peak of this pandemic is supposed to hit, they say May 3rd, which is
Florida,
exactly a month from now. So I would give it a month and a half or so when you're going to go back on the market. But again, it's very tricky. As I said, I feel like we're going to see a ton of listings hitting the market in 2 months.
Right. That's why I think maybe that 30 to 45 day window might be right where the sweet spot is myself.
Exactly. And then get them, put that in your listing agreement on the bottom, additional terms, put it on there. So we're very clear on when this is all going to hit the market and go on.
Right. That was the particular I was looking for. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great. Jamie, do you want to close us out?
Yeah, sure. Joanna, I just want to thank you for being on here. Can you share with everybody before we go what you're reading right now, as far as any books, great books?
Oh, I'm still reading Shift. Again, I'm in the Shift. And I want to end with one thing that Harry Keller, it says, significant change is downright difficult, yet long-term success requires it. People most responsive to change are the ones that are most likely going to survive and thrive. And that's in everyone successful in business. I think it's key.
Yeah, so good, so good. Well, thank you so much
You're
for your
welcome.
time.
Thank you, Joanna.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Joanna.
Yeah, and if
Thank you
anyone,
all.
Thank you.
you could share my information if anyone needs to reach out to me, because I call agents in my office, just checking up on anybody. And so if you guys have any questions, I'm here for you. That's what KW is.
Absolutely. And guys, I'm going to put the information for our 11 o'clock call on the screen as we close out. It's also posted in our Facebook group. So feel free to grab that, and we'll see you at 11. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.